If you want to earn extra money, YouTube is an excellent way of doing it. Lots of people earn full-time salaries from YouTube. Some people even run businesses with teams of staff out of buildings, all paid for by their YouTube channel, or multiple channels in many cases, even news companies. And so on this money channel, lots of people ask me to talk about how I set up my channels, how they might go about setting up a channel. And you have my apology because it's been some time since they asked me that, because I did record the first part but never finished it, therefore never uploaded it, because I still practice as a barrister, so shoehorning all my channels into my daily life was very difficult. But here's the first part I recorded earlier, so if ever you've thought about starting a YouTube channel, watch this first, subscribe to this channel, and then come back for more. Are your favorite YouTubers really making money in 2024? The short answer is yes, but the longer answer is, as always, a little bit more complicated, which is a phrase many of you might be familiar with because you may watch my other channel, which is Black Belt Barrister, which has got almost 500,000 subscribers. Very pleased about that, by the way. My other channel, Black Belt Secrets, is over 100,000 subscribers now. And so in this video, whether you're a new YouTuber just starting out, whether you've got a channel you'd like to grow, or you've no interest in starting a channel at all and you're just being nosy, then this video is for you. Because in this video, I'm going to break down how I started my YouTube channels, all the information that I used to do or not do things that have helped or not helped, or maybe even hindered my channels, and explain how and whether or not these channels make money. Now, whilst there are lots of ways of making money on YouTube and lots of different monetization methods, the main one is ad revenue. Now, I've just realized as I edit this video, I am going to have lots of bits that I'm going to slip in. So here's the first one. While I say the main source of revenue is ad revenue, that's because once you get your channel monetized and then you can get AdSense revenue paid to you for your video content, that's, for some people, not the main one. For some people, the main one is sponsorships. So they get so many hundred or even £1,000 or tens of thousands of pounds in some cases to slip an advert, sponsored product placement into their video. But when I say the main one is AdSense, that's because that's just the first default one that everybody uses. They get their channel monetized to get AdSense revenue coming through their videos, which is the little adverts that you see before you watch a video. So that's the caveat. It does depend for some people, but let's go on. And for that, you need 1,000 subscribers and either 4,000 public watch hours or 10 million public views on shorts within the last 90 days. The 4,000 watch hours span the last 365 days. Now, with my channel over on Black Belt Barrister, the channel as a whole has now received 7.6 million watch hours over its lifetime, with each video fluctuating fairly wildly as to how many hours it gets. Taking this one as an example, at 383,000 views, it received 19,000 watch hours, which in that one video alone would blow the requirements for YouTube ad revenue several times over. Now, first of all, there are, of course, lots of pros and lots of cons to running a YouTube channel. So let's go through some of those first, and I'll tell you how they affect my personal life. So the first pro I can think of is you get to work from home. And there is a caveat to that, which I'll come back to in a minute. So you get to work from home. I work from home anyway. I'm a barrister, I'm a business person. We did have offices locally until the COVID lockdown, and then we shut them all down and everyone works from home now. But YouTube fits right into that for me because this is my home space here, which doubles as a gym, it doubles as my office, and it doubles as my YouTube studio. So you get to work from home, and home can be wherever you want it to be. So you can work from wherever you like. It doesn't have to be your home. You can work from your van, you can work from your garage, you can pretty much work anywhere if you've got a satellite internet connection. The caveat to the working at home bit is if you get so big that you have a team of people and you have a studio, or you take investment later on. I've been offered substantial investment in my Black Belt Barrister channel 3 times now, and I've turned it down. The reason I turned it down, at least thus far, is because I would end up working in some kind of studio with a bunch of other people, with a producer and an editor, and someone would take editorial control over my content. I would have to show up to a regular schedule of content, whether I want to or not, whether I feel like it or not. And at the moment, whilst I do pretty much put out daily content on, well, that channel and several channels, it's still my own choice. And so the choose to work from home bit and choose to publish whenever I choose to publish is my own choice. Whereas if I took that investment, or I grew to such a degree that I've got lots of employees and a studio and everything else, then suddenly I'm not working from home anymore. I'm working from another office, another studio, and it sort of runs as a business that you have to show up to. And then before you know it, you've taken away the bit that made YouTube in the first place. But that works for a lot of people. It works for a lot of channels. They do really well, so I have absolutely no criticism for them whatsoever. It's just, it works for them, and at the moment and until now, it hasn't worked for me. So I like to work from home or walking around the park filming something, and I get to do what I want to do. Okay, con. Most people do YouTube to get monetized, which can be very difficult. Now, a lot of people, I think, probably do it because they like the creativity, they like the outlet to do something different, they like to outpour their creativity and their education and share their knowledge with the world. There are a lot of people that do it purely for that reason. In fact, Casey Neistat, case in point, no pun intended. According to what I've read, Casey Neistat did 100 million views before he turned on monetization. And so this, for him, was purely his outlet for creativity into which he would commit himself to making these videos. And so for him, it wasn't about the money, but for many people, it is. So if it is about the money, then make no mistake, getting monetized can be very difficult. Now, I've got several channels monetized to date, several of which my own, one of which is my dear wife's channel, which is Easy Chinese Cooking, so pop along and subscribe there as well. But to get any of those channels monetized took a lot of effort. Even with my fairly substantial following on Black Belt Barrister plugging away at each of these other channels, it still took my learned friend Alan Robertshaw over an Art of Law, yes it rhymes, I'll link him in the description below as well, who generates fantastic videos and takes you to far more scenic scenery than I've ever done. It still took over a year to get that channel monetized. Even though it's still talking about law, and even though I was leveraging my reach, although it wasn't quite this big then, but it was still big enough to be a substantial reach over on Black Belt Barrister, I was plugging away at Al's new channel on almost every video at one stage, just to get people through the door to watch his content, proving the point that YouTube really can be a grind. And so to get a channel monetized takes a lot of effort. So anyone thinking that it's a quick win, 5-minute wonder, that statement is much further from the truth than you might think. However, it's not all doom and gloom, because if you watch this video all the way to the end, I am going to go through some very hard and raw truths with you that will help you to make your channel a success if that's what you want. And as I say, for those of you that are just being nosy, stick around. You can be nosy and see how all this works behind the scenes. Okay, back to another pro. Despite what I've just said about it being difficult, it's actually easy to get started. Most people have got one of these things. You pick it up, you press record, you sign up for an account, and you upload the video. That's it. That's all you have to do to get started. Now, the most difficult thing is getting over that mental hurdle of actually doing it. The doing it bit is easy. It's just like getting fit. Getting fit starts with a walk in the park. Now, the phrase that suggests something is easy is a walk in the park. So if something is as easy as a walk in the park, it should be easy to get fit. So if it starts with a walk in the park, which is supposed to be easy, then it should be easy. But running a marathon starts with a walk in the park, which is supposed to be easy. So to get started, you pick up your camera, you press record, you sign up for an account, which you've probably already got because you're probably on Gmail, or even if you're not predominantly on Gmail, you've probably got a Google account. So you pop along to YouTube with your Google account, you make yourself a channel, and then you upload your video. There's a lot more to it than that, which I will go through, but we're still on the pros and cons section, so hear me out. But that brings us neatly onto the next con. Well, at least some people think it's a con, because the more you get into YouTube, the more there is to learn. First, you've got the video quality, then you've got the audio quality, then you've got the lighting quality, then you've got the editing quality, and everything else that goes with it. It is a never-ending rabbit hole of information and learning. And if all of that wasn't enough, then you have to learn analytics, audience demographics, how to analyze the click-through ratios and all of this sort of stuff, because all of that will have an impact on the growth of your channel. But again, more about that a bit later. There really is no end to it. But the tip that I would give you here is, unless you are just absolutely interested in it, don't let that trip you up and make you a procrastinator, because Getting into your YouTube channel and getting it working does not really depend on the video quality. It doesn't really depend on the lighting quality. It doesn't really depend on the editing quality. It depends on the audio quality a little bit more than it does the video quality, but we'll come back to that again a bit later. So if you spend money on anything, it should be on better audio. Although with your iPhone, so long as the surrounding area is quiet, you'll pick up reasonably good quality audio because iPhones are pretty good these days, and so are most Android phones for that matter. Just so happens I use an iPhone. Back to another pro, you get to do what you enjoy. So not only do you get to do it from home or wherever you like, you get to do what you enjoy, which is also something that comes back to how to make it work. So I love law, so I had a channel about law. I love speaking my mind and all sorts of different things, so that's what I now do on Black Belt Secrets. I also really love martial arts, which you can see my belt hanging over there. I started that channel talking about martial arts, so I was doing what I love. My dear wife loves cooking, so she has Easy Chinese Cooking because she loves cooking. So you get to do what you love. And that is a really key factor in your overall YouTube success, which again, I'll come back to in a minute. Back to the cons. As I said earlier, this is not a 5-minute wonder. It is a long-term plan. As you'll have probably heard many people say, YouTube is not a sprint. It really is a marathon, especially today with the competition that's out there. Don't let competition put you off, because you can always get into a niche if you are enthusiastic enough and creative enough and you are persistent enough. We'll come back to all those again later. But it is a long-term plan. Another pro, therefore, is that if you do make this a long-term plan, you get a somewhat passive income. Again, more about the somewhat a bit later, but it is somewhat a passive income, because once you've got a library of videos, you will get a steady income regardless of whether you publish videos or not. I can confirm to you that with my library of 2 and a bit, or almost 2,500 videos on Black Belt Barrister, there is a residual passive income that comes into the business every single month, regardless of whether I publish videos or not. But the con, of course, that goes along with that is that you are, at least to some degree, at the mercy of the fluctuations of the ad revenue, the market fluctuations, and the occasional adpocalypse, which you might have heard of a few years ago, whereby there was this whole reveal about certain things on YouTube that advertisers suddenly didn't like. They threatened, or in some case did, withdraw their advertising, and all of the ad revenue fell through the floor. That was, to a large extent, corrected, and markets corrected, and so on, and so it's reasonably back to normal, although some creators complain that either their accounts were terminated or their earnings just didn't go back to what they once were. Pro, some of your videos can just explode and can be a massive source of income. Con, on the other hand, your videos can be hit and miss, and it's extremely difficult to know why. I read a very interesting comment on X just the other day from vidIQ, which is a plugin just like TubeBuddy. There are two main plugins. There's TubeBuddy and vidIQ. I read a comment from vidIQ. It said, every YouTuber knows, but most won't say, which I'm proving wrong now because I'm saying it. I like to do things outside of the rules. Most YouTubers won't say that the best videos are those that are the least planned, the least and poorly edited, and you think they are total rubbish. And for whatever reason, they absolutely go bananas. And so I can vouch for that. I've had videos where I've spent literally 2 or 3 minutes preparing them, 2 or 3 minutes filming them, 2 or 3 minutes editing them, bang, and it's gone up. And within a few days, it's got hundreds of thousands of views. Case in point, my most watched video is this silly little 2-minute, 34-second video about what not to say to the police if they pull you over. Over time, it's continued to grow, and that video's got 1.3 million views. So if you've made it through all that and you do want to start a YouTube and you do want this to be your career, do subscribe, ask me your questions, and there'll be a series of videos to follow: how to set it up, how to run it, and how to make it work. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.